Alright guys, so today we are going to be doing CHING number 68 we are slowly reaching CHING number 70. I can't wait till we hit CHING number 100. So let's just get into where I left off. I am still a little bit behind with my CHINGs, but we are making headway. So the first thing that I have, and this is probably the item that probably sold for the most within this CHING, and that was a Department 56 ornament hanger. This was a pumpkin tree ornament hanger. It was so cute. This did come from the store buyout that I had been talking about in past CHINGs with all of the Halloween items and the Department 56 items. So this did come from it. That sold for $149.99, and basically it was just like a display to hang some of the smaller Department 56 Halloween ornaments on. So I think I had two of these, and they were slightly different from each other. And then I have one more that is completely different looking, currently listed. That one hasn't sold yet. And then the next two items are Department 56 Halloween ornaments. So the first one is that lovely fuzzy spider. So I did have multiples of some of these ornaments, and this one I always say was my favorite. That sold for $39.99, and the next Department 56 Halloween ornament went to the same person as the fuzzy spider, and this one was one of the smaller ones, and it was called the Mad Frog. It was like a little like mad scientist type of ornament, but it was a frog dressed like a mad scientist. Very, very cute. And that one also sold for $39.99. Next item was a soup bowl. This was actually by someone named Erik Hertz. It was a signed pottery piece, and when I looked him up, he still currently does sell his pieces on Etsy. This was a soup and cracker bowl, so you know, it had the little handle on the side so you could hold it in your hand with the soup and then put your crackers along the side. I did pick that up, I think, at a yard sale. I didn't pay much for it, and that did sell for $22.99. I remember when I found it, I wish that they had two of them because there was only one, because I probably would have kept it. And then like Erik and I could have used them for, you know, when we make soup. So did sell that. Next thing I sold was a perfume. This was a perfume by Elizabeth Arden, and it was called Provocative. That sold for $24.99. I did get that at a thrift store, and I probably paid about $1 to $2 for it, and that was used. And I know I sometimes get questions, and I do try to make mention in my CHING videos, if you are selling a used perfume or body spray or something along those lines, there is a category in the collectibles category for perfume that is used. eBay will give you the option to list as used. So just make sure you're listing it in the right category, or else you might open up the doors to, you know, someone who's not reading your description properly, and you know, it's marked as new, but in the description you say that it's used, and they can still try and say, you know, item not as described type of situation. So just make sure you're putting it in the right category. Next we have a porcelain doll. This was a grease doll. I won this at an auction. I know I didn't pay much for it. I was kind of hesitant at first to even purchase it, but I did see that one just like it had sold on, I don't know if it was Etsy or Poshmark when I was doing my research beforehand. So I decided to take a chance because I didn't pay much for it. I don't normally pick up porcelain dolls and that kind of thing, but I did get it, and it did sell for $39.99. It did sit for a little while, but it did go, and I think that did also go overseas as well. Gotta find my next page. Okay, I go through notebooks like nobody's business. I actually stocked up a little bit after back to school shopping in the clearance section at Walmart. So I purchased a couple new notebooks because I go through them so quickly while making like YouTube videos and stuff. Okay, so our next item was also something that we won at the auction. This was a paperweight by a company called Isle of WIGHT. WIGHT being spelled W-I-G-H-T. I forget what we paid for this. I think Erik had bid on it, but it did sell for $39.99, so that's awesome. I do think some paperweights can do decently. I don't come across them very often when I'm at like yard sales and thrift stores and stuff like that, but this one was really cool. I actually, and I sometimes do this, I will, if I have something listed on eBay and it's like a really nice piece, like this paperweight, for example, I had it sitting on our computer desk as decoration until it sold because I really liked it. I don't, I guess, suggest doing that really just in case something were to happen to your item, but you know, Erik and I, we don't have children, so like, you know, I mean, we could still, one of us, potentially break something. Not saying we're perfect people, but like just the fact that, you know, we don't have any little ones like running around and getting into things. So I do like to occasionally use the things that I'm listing as decorative pieces for myself until they sell. Next we have a Disney Phineas and Ferb hat. This one was a Platypus. I can't think of his name off the top of my head now, but he was a Phineas and Ferb character. That sold for $24.99. This actually did have a monogram on the back of the hat with a child's name. The name was Miles. So I was hesitant about picking this up. I think I got this at I feel like it was a rummage sale. I was hesitant about picking it up because it was already monogrammed. I was thinking like, what are the chances someone's gonna want this and has a child named Miles? You know what I mean? But it did sell. So, you know, I'm not sure if the person had a child named Miles or they just wanted the Phineas and Ferb hat. But regardless, it did sell. Okay, we got another Department 56 ornament. This one was, it was so weird looking. It like looked like a lady, but she was a pumpkin and she had these really like long, skinny stick legs. Super cute, but odd. That sold for $25.99. Next we have a Stife plush. I like never come across Stife ever. Sometimes I'll see it at the auction, but it sells so high. I did actually win 2 Stife bears at an auction, but I paid up for them. And they haven't sold yet. But anyway, I found this cow Stife plush at a yard sale, and I think I paid either 25 cents for him or 50 cents. It was crazy, crazy cheap. He wasn't really worth like a whole lot, but he did sell for $23.99, so that's awesome still. Next we have, okay, so these were 2 vintage Care Bears skull folders. Got these at a yard sale, and I probably paid maybe $0.25 a piece for them, and those sold for $12.99. I just love picking up vintage toys from, like, you know, when I was a young girl, just because it brings back those happy childhood memories. So I'm just naturally drawn to that kind of stuff and like to pick it up and pass it along to someone else who wants those things for, you know, potentially nostalgic reasons. Next we have this was a brand new but vintage, I think it was from the 90s, jigsaw puzzle. It was by a company called BePuzzled, and that sold for $15.99. I did get that at a yard sale, and I think I paid maybe $1 for it. I sold a rag and bone shirt. This still did have the tag. I found this at Goodwill. This was a little while back. Surprisingly, I found it at Goodwill. I feel like and I don't want to like get into like slamming on Goodwill, but man, I was in there not that long ago and I just feel like it has gone so downhill. It's insane. Like, my Goodwill in my hometown was like all over the news not that long ago because they sold a bunch of brand new still sealed Nintendo games on the Goodwill auction website for like, I want to say 300,000 some dollars. And there is actually someone at my local Goodwill who is hired to look up stuff that's coming through the door. Anything that they think is really valuable goes straight to their auction, so it doesn't even get out onto the floor for, you know, anyone else to buy. Not saying that, you know, every reseller needs to have the opportunity to like find those things, but just for like anybody, any regular shopper in a Goodwill isn't even having the opportunity to purchase some of these items that, you know, they consider worthy of going to their auctions, basically. So I feel like I'm never gonna find anything in there ever again. But I did find this shirt, so they don't know everything yet, but they probably will, because I'm sure the people who are hired to do those jobs watch videos like this. So I'm kind of like, I guess, putting my foot in my mouth sometimes doing these things. This is to help you guys, not them. But anyway, enough of that rambling. This is a CHING video, so let's get on with it. Next thing we have is a pair of children's vintage Oshkosh green corduroy bibs. You guys know I like picking up the vintage kids Oshkosh bib overall. Some of them do better than others, but some of them do sell really well. So these ones sold for $29.99, and those came from a yard sale, and I probably paid $1 for them. I know I sometimes get questions on how do you determine if an Oshkosh bib is vintage. Check the tags. A lot of the times, some of the vintage ones will have union label tags inside of them. Also, obviously, made in the USA tags. And then some of them you can just tell by the style of them. I have a couple listed that are acid washed denim, which, you know, came from the 80s. So, those are just a couple ways to tell. I can't even read my own handwriting. Okay, so this was a book, the Collector's Encyclopedia of Depression Glass. I had won a bunch of these types of books at an auction. I purchased them for myself just to help me with researching stuff if I ever came across certain glass pieces. But there were some doubles in the, you know, bunch of books that I won, so I have been listing my doubles, and this was a double, and it sold for $3.99. So not a lot, but, you know, I didn't want to just throw it away type of thing, so I decided to list it up. Next, we have another Department 56 item. This one was a teeny witch ornament, so this was one of the small ones as well. That sold for $25.99. I sold a shirt by Cabby. This was a really pretty top. It did take a while to sell, but I did pick that up at a fill-a-bag rummage sale, and that sold for $15.99. This next item came from the auction. It was a carriage buggy, like lap blanket. So this was older. A blanket you would put over your legs if you were like in an open, you know, buggy back in the day type of thing. It was by a company called Chase, and it was like a horsehair buggy blanket, basically, carriage lap blanket. That sold for $89.99. I can't remember exactly what I paid for it off the top of my head, but I don't think it was much at all. Speaking of Oshkosh denim bib overalls, here is another pair. These were actually denim overalls though, but those sold again for $29.99, and again came from a yard sale, and I probably paid about $1 for them. All right, these next, I would say couple of things, but it's a lot of things, were all purchased by the same person. She is a subscriber of mine. Her name is Tammy, and she does purchase from me quite frequently. I'm not sure, I'm guessing she collects Disney related items, and I came across a bunch of Disney stuff at an auction. I had won 2 trays full of just vintage Disney like pins. There was ephemera on there and just all sorts of different stuff. And as I was going through things, I came to find out that the man and the lady were actually cast members at Disney during this time period. So it makes me wonder if like that's where they met and like fell in love and everything like that. So these 2 trays were Disney stuff of theirs, and a lot of it was like cast member exclusive type of stuff. So I'm gonna go through everything, and I did combine her shipping, so she didn't pay for shipping on each thing. If you guys ever purchase anything from me, like multiple things, I will combine your shipping for you. So the first thing we have is a Disney Channel pin that sold for $5.99. And can I just say, I'm sorry, I'm rambling a bit in this video, but that's what I do. I loved the Disney Channel when I was younger. I remember I didn't have it growing up, but every so often, like the cable company would give you like a free month or so of the Disney Channel, and then they would put up like these advertisements to entice, you know, the children to, you know, go bug their parents. Mom, Dad, I want the Disney Channel. I remember specifically because I used to love the shows on Disney Channel. And I remember there was an offer. It was a Little Mermaid coffee cup. I think it was 4 coffee cups that you got as a gift if you would order the Disney Channel. And I remember trying to entice my parents so bad because they liked coffee, you know what I mean? I remember going to them and telling them, Mom, Dad, will you please let me get Disney Channel? You can get some free coffee cups. And they did. Oh my gosh, I miss my parents so much. They did spoil me as a child. But yeah, I still remember the coffee cups were not very good quality. They were kind of like, I remember them being like plastic. They weren't even ceramic, and I remember them really staining on the inside. But that was just a memory that came up as soon as I just said Disney Channel. So I had to share it with you guys. You let me know if you have any Disney related memories you want to share down in the comments, do so. Okay, so the next thing we have is a Disney 12th birthday pin. This was from 1983, and that one sold for $19.99. Next item was a coin. This one was from their 10 centennial, that's what it was called. So it was like a nice hefty weighted coin that sold for $29.99. Next we have a 6th birthday pin. This one was from 1977, and a lot of these pins were kind of shaped like the Disney castle, and then it would have like 6th or 7th, or, you know, depicting whatever birthday it was. That one sold for $15.99. Next item was also a pin. This was the 10th birthday, so this was the 10 centennial. So the 10 centennial coin coincided with the 10th birthday. That makes sense, Michelle, duh. That sold for $19.99. We also have a 1976 bicentennial coin that sold for $19.99. Next was a little Tinkerbell pin. This was for their 14th anniversary. That sold for $14.99. Next item was an 11th birthday pin from 1982 that sold for $15.99. Next item was also from 1982. That was a good year, you know it. Epcot opening. So this was for the Epcot opening. I guess the cast members all got like a commemorative coin. So that sold for $25.99. Next was a 15 years pin from 1986, and that sold for $9.99. We also have a 5th birthday pin from 1976 that sold for $15.99. I'm still not done yet. Next we have a Fantasyland pin that sold for $5.99. A 7th birthday pin that sold for $15.99. We have a Big Thunder Mountain pin. This was from 1980 that sold for $12.99. So that is everything for the Disney related stuff. I still do have some things left from those trays that I haven't listed yet. A lot of it is I know I have a vintage bumper sticker. I think I might have a couple more pins. I'm not entirely sure. I have a bunch of like ticket stubs as well that I still need to list. Next we have a Wonder Art needlepoint kit. This was to make a pillow. There was a tree on it. That sold for $16.99. I did pick this up at Goodwill a while back, and I think I paid $1.99 for it. I sold a Yankee Candle Boney Bunch. This one was really cute. It was of the Boney Bunch skull, and he had a glass in one hand that said last call, and you could put like a votive candle in it. Very, very cute. That one sold for $29.99, and I have purchased a bunch of Boney Bunch figures at the auction. I still have quite a few left. I was hoping more would have sold this past Halloween, but I only sold a couple of my Boney Bunches so far. Next item we have is an old book. I picked this up at a yard sale, and I do think I paid $10 for it. It was from 1878, and it was called The Poetical Works of Lord Byron. I just was drawn to this. I thought it was a beautiful book, and I love the fact that it was like really old. I didn't look it up before I purchased it. I just kind of bought it on a whim. It did sell for $42, which isn't bad. Next we have, this next item went to a subscriber. This was a salt and pepper shaker set of painted toenail feet. These were so, oh my gosh, so weird. I think I put in my title potentially podiatrist, just because like I thought it would be such like a funny like gag gift for, you know, someone who's a foot doctor to like sit on like their desk or something. But that did go to a subscriber. It sold for $9.99, and the subscriber's name is Kathy. So thank you, Kathy, for purchasing those. Next we have a set of two, these were older, I think from the 90s, Bystol Halloween tissue garlands. One was of skulls and the other one were bats. I got these at a yard sale, and I maybe paid $1 a piece for them. They were brand new, still sealed, and those sold for $19.99. I just sold them together as a lot. Next we have a Arm & Hammer spin brush. This was the Truly Radiant spin brush. I got a couple of these spin brushes at a yard sale. Not all of these are worth money, just certain ones. This one in particular was worth a decent amount. I paid $3 for it, and it sold for $49.99. And I did have two of those, and the next one will probably be in another CHING. And then the last thing that I have for this CHING was one of the other spin brush toothbrushes that I purchased at the same time I bought the last one, and this one was the Pro Clean version. Not worth as much. That one sold for $28. And again, I paid $3 for it, but I have something about that toothbrush to talk about. As you guys know, at the end of the video, I like to talk about any kind of problems that have been going on with eBay. Typically, when I'm having issues, I like to wait until I am talking, I like to wait until the item is in the cha-ching that I'm doing to kind of talk about it. But before we go into that, out of this whole cha-ching, I had one non-paying bidder. Now, eBay is starting to roll out the automatic payments. So if you send out an offer to somebody and they accept, they have to pay right away. Like, there's no longer going to be any kind of wait. They have to put in their payment method and the money will be pulled as soon as they accept the offer. So that it is being rolled out to some people. I know some people have already received that, like they're already able to, you know, have the people that they're sending out offers to have to pay right away. It hasn't been rolled out to everyone yet. I personally, it hasn't been rolled out to me. Someone just accepted an offer of mine today and hasn't paid yet. So this was from this morning. But it is happening. It will be happening. So I'm hoping maybe that cuts down on some of the non-paying bidder issues and stuff like that. But I don't know. We'll see. We'll see in the long run what happens. So the problem that I want to talk about in this video with that spin brush, the last spin brush that I showed. So these were sealed. This was brand new, still sealed item. Obviously a little older. I mean, obviously that's why these are selling for such a decent price, because, you know, they're not making these certain models and stuff anymore. So I sold this toothbrush to a user. They are also a seller on eBay. I'm not like super comfortable like calling people out publicly here on YouTube. There is a Facebook group about eBay users to like block ones that are problematic and that kind of thing. So I could post on there, but I just don't feel comfortable like blasting people's eBay names. But this kind of thing is what just gets under my skin so bad when it comes to reselling. So I sold this toothbrush. The person who purchased it messaged me saying that it wouldn't hold a charge. So I'm thinking, okay, like at that point, you know, it's whatever. Obviously, I didn't know that it wasn't holding a charge because it was still a sealed item. So I figured, okay, well, it is older, so, you know, maybe this toothbrush really isn't working, so I'll just accept this return. I'm not going to be able to relist it because they already opened it. You know what I mean? I can't sell a toothbrush that's opened. I just don't feel comfortable doing that, basically. So I get the toothbrush back and I plug it in. I let it charge for, I think I let it charge the whole evening. Go to turn it on, it worked perfectly fine. I even let the toothbrush on. It was just like across my kitchen island for 15 minutes. 15 minutes I just let it go because he was saying it didn't hold a charge. And there was nothing wrong with it. Absolutely nothing wrong with the toothbrush. So there I am, out the item because I couldn't sell it since it was opened, and all because someone just wanted their money back, basically, or didn't care for something about it, essentially. So that was a pain in the butt to, it's just disheartening. It's like, okay, like had it come back and it really wasn't working, whatever, you know what I mean? Things happen. It's a shame that it happens, but it happens. But to have it come back and there be absolutely nothing wrong with it and it was all a huge lie, that's when it gets to be just super frustrating. So anyway, regardless, that's over and done with. They got their refund and, you know, it's whatever now. Can't relist the item and that kind of thing. But it's just things like that that make sometimes reselling just really frustrating. It's different when, you know, things happen and you don't really have control over them and that kind of thing, but it's a whole nother situation when people just flat out blatantly lie about stuff just because they want their money back and that type of thing. And there's no like recourse for people like that. I mean, there's no real protection for the sellers and that type of thing. Like, so I don't know. It was very aggravating. So that happened. But yeah, whatever. But so yeah, that's everything for this CHING. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. You have to let me know what you thought down in the comments. Have you ever had an issue like that? Anything similar? Having something being returned to you where the buyer just blatantly lied about it? Or, you know, if it was something that was sealed but they returned it opened and then you couldn't relist it in the same condition as it originally was. It's been a while since I've had to deal with something like that, so, you know, but it does happen, so just fair warning, it could happen to you. But you just kind of have to brush it off your shoulders. But yeah, that's everything for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you next time.